So good day, everybody. Today's business spotlight focuses on Ivan King, CEO of Luttrellstown Castle Resort. Ivan, you're very welcome. Thanks for taking part.
Many thanks, Tom. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So for all our listeners here today, tell us, what do you do and how long have you been doing it?
Well, I'm a CEO or Chief Executive here at Luttrellstown Castle Resort.
Lovely place.
Yeah, very lucky, very fortunate. It's a very unique and special place, I have to say. It's historic. It's a beautiful resort spanning over nearly 600 acres, which includes a 20-bedroom exclusive hire castle and a championship golf course and other vast bits of land as well. So I manage the day-to-day running of the company here. I've been here for 6 years. I was general manager for the majority of that, and I've taken up chief executive from January of this year.
Yeah, this year, fantastic. So tell me, a lot of people would be very jealous that you're living in a very upmarket, very nice place. Is it that good?
I think it is, but I'm a little bit biased. The castle is, I like buildings like the castle. It's over 600 years old. There's not many of them.
Wow.
There's not as many as we like around these days, as you know, with so much development and things changing around the country and worldwide and globally, if we're honest. So these type of properties, I think, are becoming more rare. And, the castle is very much befitting what it should be. When you go into the castle, of course, we've updated it and upgraded it in the interiors, and we're always on top of that. But when you look at the castle from the exterior, it hasn't changed. And I think that's credit to the craftsman that built it so many years ago. It's still standing tall there. Incredible work that was done on it, the old stone work. So yeah, I think it's as special, if not more, than what people say. We also have a beautiful Alpine style lodge, which was built here in 1998 for the golf club. And again, it's one of the nicest clubhouses you'll see anywhere.
Fantastic. So tell me, the dreaded COVID came along. What changes were forced upon you, and what ones have you kept as part of your process now?
Sure. I think, with COVID, and I often think about this, the impact and what it had, from positive and negative and all the rest. But I think ultimately, one of the biggest impacts was actually staffing. And, people had a lot of time to think what they wanted in life. And let's be honest, if we're calling a spade, including myself, a lot of people, maybe even the majority of people, fall into hospitality by default. And they're at a crossroads, or they don't know what they want to do, and they fall in. But often a lot of these people succeed through personality, and then their roles evolve and they stay in the industry. But during COVID, a lot of people left the industry because obviously a lot of things weren't open. A lot of business wasn't there, obviously, the day-to-day business. So people had to look elsewhere to make ends meet, essentially. We kept our team on. We looked after them, but we did have people leave, and we had people that decided to make life-changing decisions and move into different industries. And I would say we had to look at, I suppose hospitality had to look, from a sector, had to look at itself, but we independently looked at ourselves and say, well, are we staff-centric? Are we looking, what benefits are we able to give our team? It doesn't always need to be financial. What offers do we have for the team? Can we give them a better work-life balance? And for a majority of the roles, we could. So we had to become more staff-centric, and I think that was the biggest learning for us. I think historically, our industry doesn't have the best name, and I think that's changing now, which is a good thing.
I think, in fairness to you, I think that's applicable to most businesses. I think the new word culture has come into play now much more. And I think COVID exacerbated and accelerated change. I love that saying by the head of Mercedes, who said, "Never has change happened as fast, and it will never move as slow again."
Yeah, absolutely. And
Good, you
you
know.
know, when you mentioned that, you know, one of my favorite sayings on change is, and a great man once told me this, Colin Hannon, when we were dealing with so much change over the last few years. I mean, it's quite incredible. And we talk about adapting and all the rest, but the only constant in life is change. And I think going forward, that's my biggest learning out of COVID, that I'll always remember that, because it's so correct in what he was saying.
Funny, that was my next question. What was the biggest learning? And you've just answered that question.
Yeah.
So other than that, since you became CEO then since the beginning of this year, it's obviously a new position and other new responsibilities. What would you say the biggest learning so far that you've had to address, that you've learned from it?
I would say that, you know, it's looking after, I think, to give you a better answer, I think your every decision that you make needs to have thought, and it impacts pretty much everyone in the company in one sense or the other, and it may impact others greater than it will on the rest of the team. But I think you have to be very, very conscious of that. And I think as a leader, you know, I often liken it as an analogy. I often liken it to being like a football manager. There's a lot of people from the outside who think, you know, oh well, he could have done it this way or he could have done it that way. And you know, the old running into a guy in the pub who's telling you, oh, Alex Ferguson he should have brought on someone at half time. And you know, but the reality is that the experts are there and they make decisions for a reason.
Yes.
But likewise, again with the football, I think, you know, you're only as good as the people playing with you, and I think you rely heavily on your team to make the business a success. So definitely in my role as a leader, I fully appreciate that and acknowledge that.
So team to team, I think that's a great point to make, and I think it's certainly a lot of our clients would benefit from that. It's all about the team. People,
Absolutely.
a lot of SMEs around Ireland, and I was guilty for many years myself. I had a lot of staff, and I wasn't as conscious as I should have been about creating that team culture. So it's something new to us all. I think we're slowly but surely kind of addressing that better. So tell me, what do you see in the near future, the next 5 to 10 years, the near future for your industry? How do you think it's going to go?
I think it's in a difficult place at the moment. I think, but if we can get through what we've got through in the last 2 years, and if we've adapted and we've changed, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're obviously, like so many industries, you know, the economy and what's going on out in the world affects us greatly. But I see it coming back around. I think there's a lot of good work going in from Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Ireland, you know, the IHF, IHI, they're all putting in work to try and to retain people in the industry, and also to create new educational programs. So I would be hopeful that all is not lost and people will come back into hospitality, because it's one of the greatest strengths of Irish people. And I know we have so many different people working from all around the world, and we're very fortunate for that. But just here in Ireland, if we can get more people back into it, and you know, really getting back into working hospitality from a love point of view, and wanting to serve people and to look after people and exceed their expectations, I think it'll come back around. So the next 4 to 5 years, I think, while challenging, it'll also be exciting, and a lot of good will come out of it.
And do you get a lot of bad press over, you know, the VAT rate? How come you guys get 9% and everybody else is paying 23% and all this sort of stuff? Do you get a lot of flack over that?
You know, I think overall, I think again, the industry has got a bit of flack recently, because we're looking, apparently from the outside, looking for favoritism and all the rest. But look, I think the 9% is justified. I think it was too high coming back, especially what's going on out there at the moment with inflation and everything else. And the government have recognised that. But no, I don't get any personal flack, or we don't hear from our customers.
Yeah, I'd say, I think when you think of it, and we kind of accept it now, but 23% on top of what the company needs to charge is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
And we don't complain a lot about it, do we? But 23%, it's huge.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is, and again, since COVID and all the rest, and with the terrible war that's going on in Ukraine with
Yes.
Russia, is that people have never wanted value as much as they do now. So when people look at the price of things, if they feel they're not getting value, they're definitely more vocal about it, which is fine, which is all.
Yeah.
And sometimes people think the hotel, we're all, there's price gouging and all the rest, but really the costs have gone up so much between insurance, food costs, everything. We got golf course here, fertilizer went up 60% in some instances. So it's been very tough. So adding on 23% just doesn't look very well.
Indeed. So tell me, fine, this is really interesting. So is there any offers you'd like?
Sorry, just to confirm. So but that 9% went down from 13%, not 20.
Yes. Sorry, but I beg your pardon. Yeah, but 23% and a lot of other stuff, things as well. So are there any offers you'd like to include in the newsletter or to the listeners here if they were to contact you, anything like do on that basis?
Really, look, the castle, with two separate businesses. So the castle is our sort of properties on site. The castle is event driven. It could be private hire for parties or events, obviously very popular for weddings. What I would say is we have a new restaurant which we opened in July of last year. It's called Rugged Lane, and that is based at the golf club. It's been very successful, and we run it almost independently in that we have a separate team there that run it. It's a modern take on fine dining, and for the area in D15 in particular, it is a perfect new restaurant and a new offering, and I think it's been missing for the area. So I definitely want to help try and promote that. So really people to look it up and come out and try it would be great.
Fantastic. Well, we get that out there. So guys, the Rugged Lane, modern take and fine dining, this is where you do it. So Ivan, if anyone wanted to have a conversation with you, what are the best contact details that you would give them?
Sure. Please reach out at iking, IKING, at Luttrellstown.ie.
Fantastic. Ivan King, CEO of Luttrellstown Castle Resort, thank you so much for your time today. I'm wishing you the very best in your new tenure. And I hope to make time myself to go out and see the place because I'm very jealous of where you're working.
Oh, well, listen, that'd be great, Tom. Absolutely. And thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.